Oh man, is it good to see you? I'm John Zidar. This is On Top and Hot. And today is Tuesday. It's December 17th. And on Tuesdays, I like to bring you to work with me. In the matter of speaking, I spend my whole days over here at Pennybois. Pennybois is a Discord group. They are basically here to help people learn how to trade. They are education based. We cover all sorts of trading, whatever you're invested into, options, swings, scalping, long holds, crypto, you name it, we do it. Well, I spend my whole days over here from bell to bell, from 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're primarily doing scalps. Since you might not come back tomorrow, we want you to see how this all works. So we do day trades, scalp trades, which happen in a matter of minutes, 5, 10, 20 minutes. You grab a probable move. We see a stock start to run, has a lot of volume, it's on fire, cooking up the charts. Darn, we missed it. No, we didn't. It's still moving. We're going to grab the meat in the middle, the movement in the middle. We've seen it starting to run. We're going to set up a trade ahead of it so it runs through us. Where is it going to go? We don't care. We're not looking for the ceiling. We're just looking for that probable move. And that's what we do all day. We keep finding hot stocks and finding probable moves. Well, over these last, maybe 10 days, we have been trading a certain sector to death because it has been getting hot and hotter and really hot. That is the quantum computing sector, folks. This thing is taking off. Tickers like QBTS, QUBT, RGTI. These stocks are running hard, and there's a lot of other quantum computer stocks out there, and I'm going to share a list with you at the end of this video. So what I want to do is take a look at a few different quantum computer stocks. Now, we're not going to look at the companies. We're going to look at the stocks because that's what we primarily are interested in, stocks that are rising. I'm going to let you do all the research because it isn't easy research. Look, folks, quantum computing is on the edge of tomorrow. I'm telling you, folks, this is nothing like computers like you and I think of, not even like AI. Our computers work with yes and no, ones and zeros. You're either a one or you're a zero. Our AI, it does do a lot of incredible things, but what it is doing is collaborations. It is taking information we give it, and it comes up with ways to move that information into different forms. It's like an inventor who sees a great concept in this product and a great concept in that product and finds a way to bring the two together and make a better product with both features from both products. Well, quantum computing isn't like that. No. Quantum computing is thinking outside of the box, folks. It is bringing concepts that you and I can't fathom. And I don't have the intellect to explain to you quantum physics, but what I do want to do is I want to share a brief clip with you, 2.5 minutes long. This is from Geordie Rose. Geordie Rose is the founder of D-Wave, a quantum computing company. I do believe he stepped away from the company now, but he knows about quantum computing. Well, I've got a clip here when he was lecturing an audience 9 years ago, and he was trying to explain to them what quantum computing was. And I watched this many years ago, and there was one portion of it that blew my mind. It caught my attention and shook me, and even put a little bit of fear into me. But I'm not going to elaborate on that. I'm just going to see what you think after you see this. So it's over here at YouTube. This is Geordie Rose, Quantum Computing, Artificial Intelligence is here. And let's see, this came out 9 years ago. So this is it, and I've already got it set up. I'm just going to let this play. It's 2.5 minutes long.
I'm not going to describe in any mathematical detail how it all works, but let me give you an analogy. In quantum mechanics, there's this concept that a thing can exist in two states which are mutually exclusive at the same time, quote unquote. So I'm using those words because the English language was developed before we had concepts to describe what these things actually are doing. But I'm going to give you a roundabout way of understanding this. Imagine that there really are parallel universes out there, and now imagine you have two that are exactly identical in every respect, all the way out to the horizon as far as we can see, down down to the last little atomic detail of every single thing with only one difference. And that's the value of a little thing called a qubit on this chip, which is a contraction of quantum bit. And that qubit is very much like a bit or a transistor in a conventional computer. It has two distinct physical states, which we call 0 and 1 for bit. In a conventional computer, these are mutually exclusive. That device is either one or the other and never anything else. In a quantum computer, that device can be in this strange situation where these two parallel universes have a nexus, a point in space where they overlap. And when you increase the number of these devices, every time you add one of these qubits, you double the number of these parallel universes that you have access to, until such time when you get to a chip like this, which is about 500 of these bits, you have something like 2 to the 500th power of these guys living in that chip. So the way I think about it is that the shadows of these parallel worlds overlap with ours. And if we're smart enough, we can dive into them and grab their resources and pull them back into ours to make an effect in our world. Now this may sound very odd to you and bizarre, and in fact I am using language that a normal theoretical physicist probably wouldn't use, but this is, what I'm telling you is absolutely correct and in line with the way that these things actually work.
Did you hear that, folks? He was talking parallel universes. Now, he had another lecture that I listened to, and he used the word exploit technology from these parallel universes. Technology. You know, folks, when I hear the word technology, I think of intelligent life. If you're exploiting another intelligent life for their technology, and he even went as far as to say, we are not talking about getting the information. We're talking about the technology itself. And then he said, have you noticed your devices getting smarter? That's what we've been working on. And I saw this years ago. So this is pretty mind-twisting quantum computing, but it has a lot of rational, practical applications because it can think in bigger ways and outside the box than we can, and it can solve problems. So we are expecting this market to really grow, and we have been playing the heck out of these stocks. The last few days, these stocks have been running hard. Now, of course, after strong runs, you got to expect pullbacks. Stocks don't have wings. They don't fly. They're kangaroos. They bounce on the ground. So you got to give them a chance to come back down and hit the ground, and then they can start bouncing again. So what I want to do is look at 3 quantum computer charts. Let's take a look at the hottest charts we've been looking at. And then at the end, I'll give you a list of about 20 different quantum computing companies that are on the market, both OTC, NASDAQ, and New York Stock Exchange. Guess that wouldn't be both. It'd be all 3. So I'm not going to say it's an exhaustive list. I'm sure there's more of them out there, but it's a good place to start. So let's jump on over now to my playground. This is Thinkorswim. This is where I spend most of my time. This is a free trading platform. As far as I know, the only place you can get it is from Schwab. Used to be just from Thinkorswim. Sorry. TD Ameritrade. But I don't think TD Ameritrade's even around anymore. I think all that's left is Schwab. So let's get up. Let's start with QBTS. We'll start there. As you can see on the short chart here, 3 days ago, we were at $3.71. 3 days later, she's at $9.42. So we're looking at roughly 300% run right there. Let's take a quick look at QUBT. I'll get rid of these lines for us. I hate to do this because I always forget to put them back up. Remove the lines, please. Those are my supports and resistances. That's how you know we've been trading it. Every single one of those gaps between those yellow lines, that's a play. So we've had lots of plays here. So this actually started just running 2 days ago. So we're just getting in on this right now. This was at $6.80, and look at that, $18. Another 300% run. And let's check out this last one, RGTI. RGTI, woo, she's been running for a few days here. That's a 5-day chart right there. Let's just take a look at the 1 hour. So she's been running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. I mean, actually, she started way back here, right? At $1.28. Right now, she's at $11.43. So from back here to here, we've got roughly 1,000% run. In the last, let's say 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right from here, from $4.50 to $11.50, about 150% run right there. Another one, and I haven't looked at this, I'm just pulling it up. What is it? WIMI? I do believe that is a it is a hologram company getting into quantum computers. They're just going sideways right now. But that's the whole point. We see that these stocks aren't all running at the same time. They're starting off at different points, but they're all starting to run. So the list I give you may be a juicy list. So let's take a look here at QUBT. Let's go back. Let's take a look at the year. Let's see what she was doing a year ago. Wow. Nobody was interested in quantum computing. That is a full year. Now, we had a bump here. She got up to $1.40. She hit a low here of 35 cents. But it wasn't until here, and that happens to be about the 17th of October. 17th of October, she started to grow. Now, it wasn't much. I mean, it wasn't until, gee whiz, a whole month later that she took a jump, and this is really when she started to grow. That jump went from $1.40, wow, up to $4.62. So when it became interesting, it caught fire immediately. Each one of these is a day. So that jumped from $1.74 up to $4.52 in one day. She came back down. Great. We have a habit of selling when things are climbing. So we got a good profit out of that, right? Then when she falls back down, you come back here to your long chart and you see she's sitting on a 9-day MA. Don't just be looking at your 1 minute and 5 minute where she's dangling in the air. Looks like she's ready to fall. Come over here. Take a good gander at your stock. Really look at it. She is secure. She did fall, but she's ready to start running, sitting on that 9. So we would get back in right there, folks. And as she starts to run, we sell as she's climbing. You don't want to carry your whole parcel all the way up to the top because we never know when she's going to drop. But you can see how this is jumping sideways. Look at the next jump. Look, we had a little bounce here, a bigger bounce, a nice jump, a huge jump. This is what's going to happen with quantum computing, company after company. Now, be sure you're reading companies that are actually involved with quantum computing in a serious fashion and not just throwing the word around. You know, if you start looking at OTC Pink saying they're in quantum computing, think about it. Do they really have the money to get involved in it? Quantum computing is not cheap. So this thing is ripping. On the yearly chart, she is just so hot. 4-hour chart looks just as good. Look at that. Parabolic, folks. Para-freaking-bolic. Now, I'll tell you what. In these sort of situations, we say it's good to sell as she's climbing. You get to a certain point, you sell 50%. You go up, you sell another 50%. Well, by the time she gets way up high here, you don't have any more shares. And it's like, doggone it, man. I should have held on to my stock. Well, you know, if you know you're in a strong sector, if you know she's going to have strong runs, there's nothing wrong with taking gains and getting back in. At the same token, you can hold some. Sell 50% and take those gains, but keep the other 50% for that longer swing that you're thinking about. But in the meantime, when she's having these silly days, when the stock is doing something not normal, that's when you got to do something different. If it runs real hard, you should sell something. If she starts falling real hard, you should sell something. You know, when the stock does something different, you need to take action. Let's come on down to the 5-day, 15-minute. All right, 5-day, 5-minute. No, I said 5-day, 15-minute. Thank you very much. So once she decided to go here, folks, there was no hesitation. She was dilly-dallying around here, not showing anything going on. Then right here, she took off. Now, I want to share something with you here that I've been talking about a lot here recently because I've just really started paying attention to it. Look down here at this middle tool. This is our ADX. The ADX has 3 lines to it, a main line, which is measuring the trend. This yellow line here does not tell me if the trend is going up or down. All it's telling me is whatever trend is on the board, it's getting strong. The higher you go on this graph, the stronger something is. Whatever line is on the top of the graph is the trend. We've got a green line on the top, and the yellow line says that green line is getting strong. Well, what happened? You had a nice run here. Then the green line was still on top of the red, but our yellow line started falling. That's telling us that that trend is cooling off. Well, we could see it's cooling off. It's not falling, but it definitely isn't climbing anymore. She's cooling off. Then right in this area, she started ranging, going sideways. We can see we have lots of crossovers, the green going over the red. Once that green crosses over the red coming up, that's a signal it's going to start climbing again because the green is on the top again. Now, we have lots of crossovers here, and she's still climbing the entire time. This looks more like range than anything else, but that is a very, very strong chart here, folks. And I haven't even considered the other oscillators, which have been showing strength and then weakness. But just looking at the chart, it's quite clear that QUBT is on a run right now. Let's take a look at QBTS. QBTS is another quantum company, and I don't know a whole lot about it. I am invested in this one. I got into it yesterday. I think I sold a little bit earlier today, and I said I'm going to hold on to the rest, and she's been running. So we've got a lot of supports and oh, I forgot to put them back in my last chart. I got to draw all of those again. Hopefully she doesn't come back down. As long as she goes back up, I'm just doing brand new ones. That's the neat thing about supports and resistances. In case you didn't know, they never change. At least the ones that you see there right now, these are based on historical price points. Well, we can't change history. So whatever supports and resistances you have, they're there for life. So you know that you can count on those for entries. But as time goes on, she may create some new ones, maybe in those same zones, maybe above it. So looking at our yearly chart, she too wasn't doing a whole lot. She had a little bit of excitement back here and then gave it all back up going underneath the 200. And it was about 2 months ago, she started to rise when she was at $1. She was at $1. 30 days later, she was at $1.75. And then she started to climb, and it's getting strong. She's jumped onto her 9-day SMA, and she is pushing up fast and hard. Now, right now, our price is, it says $8.40 is where it closed. I don't know if she's getting any aftermarket activity right now. Volume is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Look at our ADX. Our yellow line says the trend on the board is very strong. It's at 100%. That is maximum. You can't get any stronger there. Now, if she stays up there at 100%, that's like keeping your foot on the gas pedal at 100 miles per hour. She's not weak just because it's going sideways. No, she's still just maintaining that speed. And our green line is climbing as well, which tells you the trend is climbing and the strength of it is strong. As you can see, this is all telling the truth here. And our oscillators are following right behind it. Every single oscillator is going to the moon on this stock on the yearly chart. On our 4-hour chart, looking at our oscillators, still got the same volume. PPO is climbing. That's my percentage price oscillator. ADX, the yellow line is going up very strong. Green line, very strong. My MACD, very strong, climbing up. RSI is all the way up in 84. We're talking a raging fire here, folks. There is so much heat in this chart. So she started her bounce off here on the 20th of November. Took a little more initiative on the 5th of December here. But it wasn't until 3 days ago she decided to get hot. She jumped over that 200-day haul right here. She was on top of her 200. There's our 200 haul. Both of them were closing in on the price. That's a 200 press. Man, that's a lot of pressure. Both of those had the same amount of strength, the same amount of authority. The price needed to get the heck out of that. So it jumped quick. And it's running on top of her 9-day SMA, hitting that high, falling back to the 9-day SMA. When your price gets too high, she has to come back to something to bounce on. If she's just landing on the 9-day, you're in the best shape you can possibly be in. If she comes down to the 20, And you've got to watch, because a lot of times if she breaks to 20, she'll just come right on down to the 50 and the 200 haul here, which will normally hold up. But this is looking beautiful. She is floating on that 9-day MA right on up. Now, as you can see, our ADX has changed here. Isn't this interesting? Our negative is on the top and our green is on the bottom, and we have a lot of strength. Well, this is like a push and pull. You can see they're both kind of going in the same direction right next to each other, and it looks like the strength of the trend that was back here is still maintaining. That trend is still holding strength, even though it's trying to fall. The green line's underneath it. It isn't falling, is it? Take a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. Our 200-day MA is now on an uptrend. She wasn't before. She was rolling around here. She got flat right in this region where she decided to break out. That's when your breakouts happen, when your 200 MA goes flat. She got up on top of her 50 and 200. Nice bounce, nice bounce, nice bounce. And there she goes again. So she's following suit. She's doing exactly what she's been doing. Looks like she's going to continue her climb. Our oscillators. PPO is on a rise, though it's very slow and cool. MACD, speaking of cool, she is actually cooling off right now, but I can see we have a red bar aftermarket pushing down. So I'm not too worried about that. Our ADX, green line on the top, but it is way down here. The strength is up at the top. Anything over 25 is hot. Anything under 25 is cold. We are down in that range right now, but we still are on top of our red line. But you can see right there, we do have an imminent crossover, which would mean the stock would start to fall if she gets on top of that green line and pushes up any. All right, let's take a look at one more. RGTI. RGTI got lots of lines here too because we've been playing it. Let's go all the way back a year. Now, isn't this interesting? I've got no lines here except this one. This is when I found the stock. I put a line on it and I made it blue and I made it go as far back as I could because I needed to get some supports and resistances. There was no historical prices here to work with. So that's 1 year. I didn't find anything on the year. There's 2 years. 2 years. I still have no prices to use. How about 3 years? All right, I've got a few here, but keep in mind now, I'm looking at 5-minute and 1-minute charts. I'm looking for my supports and resistances on a weekly chart. Every one of these bars is an entire week of trading. It's kind of difficult to get supports and resistances out of that. And I can go back 5 years, and there is something up there, right? So we've got some stuff up there. 5 years ago, we were at a high of $12.75, and we were at $11.13 when we closed today. So what I ended up doing over here is I took, let me back this out so you can see this better. I didn't have any historical price points to really work with. Those weekly bars aren't much help. So what I did was I took a gap. I think it was from here to here. Yeah, from where I found it down to where this low bubble was. That's what it was. So I took my Fibonacci and I poked this. I brought it down to this low bubble. Then I released it and I dragged it up to here, up to my blue line. Like, let me see if I can do this without, like that. I dragged it up to my blue line just like that. And then I dropped it. So that's how I got my supports and resistances for here. These white lines are Fibonacci's that I did not draw. That was the tool drawing them for me. But here's the kicker. Even though it's not attached to any historical price points, they're valid supports and resistances that we can trust in. We can trade on. We can set our trades up around. The price is going to respect. Why? Well, you know, without going into it too much, Fibonacci is a science that science can't prove. They are magical numbers. They are numbers that have an attractive force to them, and they show up all around in nature. And we introduced it into the financial market to see if it had any influence here. Sure does. And I like to use my Fibonacci a lot. So as you can see on our 1 hour chart, we are in a very strong uptrend right now. She is pushing up on her 50-day MA and climbing easily. And look, our bars are getting big. She is getting bigger bars every other day. She is jumping higher and higher. All of our oscillators are climbing. We are in the overbought on our 1 hour chart. We got a lot of mixy-matchy going on our ADX, but our yellow line is above everything climbing. Our green line is above the red line. One last look at 5-day, 15-minute. So we had a bunch of sideways activity right here. That was about 4 days. Accumulation, not much going on. 200 was in a steady climb here. She dipped under it right there, came back up on top of it, made a jump, got up onto this support and resistance at 845 and has been climbing ever since. And now she is reaching the top of this, and we are going to be into all-time highs here. What was it? $12.45. So what do you do when you get into all-time highs? There are no prices that you can get S&Rs from. You got to do my Fibonacci. Unless you know of another trick, please share it with me. I would love to know, because once she gets to all-time highs, most people have no idea where to get in or where to get out. I mean, now there's all sorts of questions. Who has any answers? Well, the only answer I've come up with, actually, I've got another one, is to make this Fibonacci based on a previous surge, unlock it, and drag it up to the top of the last support resistance on the price, and use that as your future supports and resistances, even though they're not attached to anything. It has been working. We do this a lot over there at Pennybois, so I'm not just pulling this out of the air. We've got some experience behind it, so I do like it. All right, the last thing I want to share with you, I almost forgot, and you would have been really upset, is a list. I don't know how big I can make that. Right there it is. We got Amazon, Baba, Baidu, FCCN, that is Spectral Capital, Google, Honeywell Quantum, IBM, Intel, IonQ, Microsoft, NVIDIA, D-Wave Systems, Quantum Computing, Rigetti Computing, Raytheon, Wimmy Hologram, and Zapata AI. And as I said, I'm sure that's not all of them, and I'm sure more will probably show up. But there's a list to start looking at. Find those that are in your price zone. Now, in my opinion, when you're looking at companies like Amazon, Alibaba, Baidu, Google, IBM, Intel, Microsoft, NVIDIA, well, these companies have already made a name for themselves. They're doing all sorts of stuff in all sorts of arenas. They're already rich. They're already giants. I mean, you can play those, but how do you know a jump for quantum computing over a jump for financials? I mean, you know, we want to be in a stock that has growth, a startup company, a company that nobody's really heard of yet that could be a giant like these other companies in the future. So you may want to consider these other companies that you've never heard of before as the ones you want to invest in. So quantum computing, I think it's where we all need to put some of our money, folks. If you haven't got any investments into quantum computing, and I did choose that word specifically, investments. We normally get in and get out of trades, but I do believe quantum computing is far better than AI. Quantum computing is a thinker. It is going to solve problems for us. It is going to do things outside of the box, from out of this world. Dealing with parallel universes is a little bit over my head. I don't know if those people are going to be happy that we exploit them. I don't know if we can close the door after we've opened it. I don't know if anything else can come through that maybe we don't want through. Maybe we're messing with things we shouldn't be messing with. I'm just speaking off the top of my head, folks. There's a lot of Hollywood in there. So do your own research on quantum computing. Quantum computing itself, even get on the peripheral edges there, see what you can learn about it, jump into these companies, do some research there as well. And while you're at it, click that link to Pennybois. I want to see you in there, folks. We do everything every day, and I am there every day helping you make money. Try it. And if you like what we're doing, folks, maybe I can turn you on to what we're really here for, education. Did you know that you could actually hire a coach for 30 days? You can get a coach for $40 or less. I think we got a Christmas special going on right now for like 30% off or something. You can get a coach for 30 days to help you with whatever it is you do. We've got coaches that deal with options, aggressive trading, crypto. We got coaches that deal with swing trading, whatever it is you want. Now, I'm not here to sell you on it, but I know finding reliable help that you can trust that is working with you is hard. So I'm letting you know we do that. And to see what we're about, we've got our free members page. So please join me. I would love to see you there. Thanks for your time, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See you, folks.